Hi, and thanks for your continued interest in storytelling with spreadsheets. This is the fourth of 7 modules. In this module, we will be discussing 3 more big concepts in financial modeling: the income statement, EBITDA, and visualizing growth. Be sure to have a copy of your template handy to follow along as we work through this module together. The income statement is the culmination of our financial model. This statement is the summary of all the money flowing into the company and all the money flowing out of the company. So now we're going to move to our financial model to take a look at the income statement. Moving to our financial model, the income statement is the first tab. Here, you'll be able to see our gross revenues, our gross profits, our margins, and other metrics of interest. At the right, you will note we have a graphical representation of the outputs of our financial modeling. This is a 5-year projection of our company's revenue in a metric called EBITDA. It's okay if your EBITDA is negative in the first few years of life as a startup. A lot of businesses start with EBITDA. But wait, EBITDA? What is an EBITDA? Well, EBITDA is a metric of your company's financial output. EBITDA is an acronym for earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. This EBITDA metric is a preferred data point to assess the profitability of your business by investors because it limits the amount of financial gymnastics you are able to do to make your company seem better than it actually is. For instance, remember in the last module how your lemonade stand depreciated in value over time? Well, what if you depreciated it over 200 years to make it look like it was still worth over 99% of its value after year 1? EBITDA blocks you from cooking the books with this trick and many others. In our last slide, I want to talk about visualizing our growth. You may have noticed in the template that our growth kind of resembled a hockey stick. So this is typical of an ambitious startup that seeks to scale rapidly and get a ton of investor funding. For so-called bootstrapped businesses that still dream to scale, but rely on only the investment of their founders, growth may be slower, but still expand over time. Finally, for those businesses that aim to be fixtures of their local communities, such as a barbershop or a family restaurant, we may produce a model that reflects a community enterprise. These businesses produce meaning for their owners and add irreplaceable value to the local community, but are not necessarily looking to reach a global or national scale. Venture capitalists like to see confidence that you can deliver the rapid growth expected from a venture-backed business so they have a fair shot at making their money back. Other forms of investors and funders may be looking to see more modest but sustainable growth. So to finish, we will head back to our model. We're going to go to line 46. So here we can get into the revenue we bring in, all the cash flowing into the company. We then subtract the cost of sales to get our gross profit and divide that by our total revenue to get our gross margin. This gross margin is the percentage of money that we bring in that is our profit before we consider things like administrative expenses. Gross profit and margin is another term that is very important to investors because the higher your gross margin is, the better chance your company can make a profit in the long term. So after assessing our gross margin, we further subtract costs such as customer support and administration to get our subtotal expenses. We then subtract these subtotal expenses from our gross profit to get our EBITDA. And as you can see, starting at the beginning, our EBITDA is negative. Since we have not factored in income tax, depreciation, or amortization figures into this example, also known as the ITDA in our EBITDA, our net income or earnings is unchanged by these and remains the same as our EBITDA. And that concludes our module on income statements, EBITDA, and visualizing growth. Thanks for listening.